Going live. Hold on. Go.
Thank you for joining us this Sunday morning, April 5th, 2020 on Fox Sports Radio 920 The Jersey. We are taping this show on Thursday, April 2nd, 2020 from our home in Titusville, New Jersey as the coronavirus sweeps the nation. Our prayers to all those dealing with the virus, and please stay safe and healthy. Please share your opinions on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Just do a search for Sports Skillet. Don't forget to check out sportsskilletradio.com for all the latest news and information regarding the show. I am Jeff, and I'm joined by my brother Jay. We have plenty of topics on the Skillet this Sunday morning. Plenty of NFL to discuss. There's obviously Randall Cobb. Says he chose Houston over Dallas because of Sean Watson.
Here, I'll read it.
Oh,
Yep. Randall Cobb says he chose Houston over Dallas because Deshaun Watson is the best way to describe Deshaun Watson is the best. Hold on. Well, he said he showed Deshaun Watson because Deshaun Watson is a winner. That's why he chose to go to Houston. Pro Football Focus gives the Cowboys all season a grade of above average. Do you agree with that? How do you rate the Cowboys all season? Is it underrated? Is it perplexing? How do you rate it? The landing spot for Jameis Winston still hanging out there after all these weeks. Where do you think he might go? Could he go to the Jaguars, compete with Gardner Minshew? Could he go to the Dolphins? Could he go somewhere else? Could he go, to the Steelers? Could he go to the Patriots, Broncos, Chargers? Report from the Patriots, they have no interest in Cam Newton, so they're not going to be bringing him in. They're going to be going with the Stidham-Hoyer combination. Do you agree with that? Do you think that makes the Patriots a contender? Do you think they should sign Cam Newton? Something that just came out. Hollywood Brown posted a pic on his Instagram with Antonio Brown and Lamar Jackson. 3 of them are working out. Do you see Antonio? What's going on with Antonio Brown? Do you see him as a fit for the Baltimore Ravens? Is it just 3 guys getting together? What's going on there? Should they have posted that picture on Instagram hugging during this coronavirus crisis that we're all living through? Cowboys signed former 49er defensive end linebacker Aldon Smith.
Aldon Smith.
Aldon
right?
Smith.
Not
Yeah.
Aldon Smith, Aldon Smith.
Well, I was saying, I was building him up.
Yeah.
Former 49er. What do you think, Jeff? Let's start out right there.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Think of the 49ers signing Aldon Smith?
No, the Cowboys.
The Cowboys signed the Cowboys signing Aldon Smith. I think I think it's a good signing for them. I think he'll play well for the Cowboys. I think it's a loss for the 49ers, but
he's been out of the league for 5 years. Because of
obviously the Cowboys still believe he had some skills. So I think that he obviously they felt that he had something left in the tank. Obviously there's rust that he has, but obviously the Cowboys felt they need to sign him for some apparent reason, which I'm not sure of.
Well, they lost their defensive end. They lost some pieces there. I just don't, I know it's a low money contract. It's up to $4 million. It's only 1 year, and I know the Cowboys are reaching for Aldon Smith, but I admire them for trying to give him a second chance. He's currently out of the league. He has to get reinstated before the Cowboys can officially put him on the roster.
So basically, this is, at this point, it's a non-issue at this point in terms of the fact that, yeah, they signed him, but, is he going to play? Is he not going to play? Nobody even knows at this point.
Well, he's got some good guys backing him. They got the former 49ers head
coach. But is this really a story at this point?
Yeah, because he's trying to get back in the league.
But he's trying to get back in the league, yet he's still suspended, correct?
He is still on the commissioner's exempt list, yes.
So at this point, he cannot, so the Cowboys signed him, but at this point, he cannot get on the field at this point, so the commissioner would have to reinstate him first.
That is correct.
So before you can even discuss what Alden Smith could
Well, it is a signing. Well, it is a signing. So, and apparently he's got some powerful guys in his corner saying that he's been clean for about the last 9 months.
Well, he's got some guys saying that, backing him up, saying that he'd like to get back in the league and trying to say, okay, I'd like to put him back. He's got some guys who are trying to vouch for him so he can find a job in the league. He's been out, like you said, he's been out for 5 years. So maybe he has some, to me, it's a sign the Cowboys are desperate, or the fact that they feel that he has something left in the tank. I don't know. I'm not familiar too much with this story, so to me, it's kind of like maybe they saw something in Alden Smith that they wanted to bring him in, maybe for depth or for some other particular reason. But you got
to admit though that Alden Smith, when he was healthy 5 years ago, was one of the premier pass rushers in the NFL.
Well, it was, but that was like you mentioned before, it was 5 years ago. What does he have left? I mean, you're talking five years. I mean, it's hard to judge what a player has left. And obviously, they scouted him. Obviously, they looked into. Like I said, I'm not too familiar with the workings of what went on here between the Cowboys and Alden Smith's representatives, or what he went on with his, posse or whatever that he has around him that decided to vouch for him to try and get back in the league. I'm not sure. So to me, it's an interesting story to the fact that you have somebody who's trying to come back after 5 years, but at the same time, there's a lot of hurdles that he has to overcome before he even gets to see the field. If he does ever see the field again, there's a possibility that once they put him through training camp, they put him through that they just cut him, because there's no use in keeping him on it. There's no use that he doesn't show he shows more rust than they thought. So who knows? Like you said, it's a 1-year deal, so it's not really much to do with the Cowboys aren't taking a whole lot of risk on their end.
Well, that's exactly right. It's a low-risk, high-reward contract. He's got Jay Glazer in his corner, and we know Jay Glazer can be pretty powerful when he vouches for somebody. And it's a 4-year absence for him. Jay Glazer says that Alden is clean and sober, and it's incredible how much he's turned his life around. It's a 1-year, up to $4 million deal. So the Cowboys aren't taking a huge risk on him.
No.
But if he does get reinstated, which having Jay Glazer in your corner and some other guys, Tom Skillet, former 49ers coach, is now the D-line coach for the Cowboys. So, those guys are backing out on. And so having those guys backing him, saying this guy's clean and sober, take a chance on him. If the Cowboys strike gold, this could be a really important signing for them.
Or it could be a big blow-up. We don't know. I mean, that's the thing right now. We have no clue right now what he is or what he does. So there's a lot of hurdles that has to go there, that have to come out before he can even see the field at this point. So to me, it's an interesting, it's a nice side story. But
when he was on the 49ers, he had 44 sacks.
That was 5 years ago. So don't give me 5 years ago. I want us to know what he is now, or what he's doing now, and nobody can say what he is now. So as far as I'm saying, those stats are completely irrelevant. Those stats are in the past. Those stats are done. Those stats are finished. I don't know what he is now, and we're just gonna have to wait and see. But before he even sees the field, before we even talk about, what a great signing this was by the Cowboys, the Cowboys struck gold. Roger Goodell has a say in this, and he has to reinstate the guy before he even gets to practice and see the field before he even sees contact on the field, Jay. So let's get by that hurdle before we start saying, you know, what this deal is for the Cowboys.
Okay. I think it was.
Let's not put the cart before the horse. Is what I'm trying to say here.
Doesn't hurt them. You know, that's all I'm saying. It doesn't hurt the Cowboys. I think.
Well, it doesn't hurt the Dana Cowboys. A risk on a guy who's been out for 5 years and just doesn't. Who knows what he has? Who knows what he is? Who he is? Let's just park it on the back burner and see what actually transpires with him before we actually start looking at him as a legitimate threat as far as being an impact player on the Cowboys.
This is true. Okay. So we can move on to our next topic. What would you like to talk about? Okay. I will suggest this. I brought it up in the opening. Hollywood Brown posts a pic on his Instagram. He was working out with Antonio Brown and Lamar Jackson. Should they have been working out together?
Absolutely not. This is horrible. This is just during this virus. I think I would levy a suspension. I would do something if I could, because this is something we're all trying to try and do social distancing. We're all trying to practice. We're all trying to stay in our homes. And you got this idiot posting a pic on Instagram trying to practice. How about he stay in his home? How about he hunker down like the rest of us and not try to work out? Because again, right at this point in time, there's a lot more serious issues going on right now. But that's just my opinion that this is a total idiotic move to make, given the crisis that we're in as far as the nation goes.
Completely agree with you. Because here's the thing. We know the reputation that Antonio Brown has currently.
He's an idiot. He's a moron. What do you want?
I agree. And he sabotaged his NFL career. And he's doing whatever he can to try and get back into the NFL. But when you go through the Pittsburgh Steelers, when you go through the Raiders, when you go through the New England...
He's burned his bridges in the NFL. If I'm an owner, if I'm a player, I am saying, you know what? I am staying as far away from this jackass as I possibly can. And he is a jackass. I mean, that's when we're getting around the point. This guy is a total and complete jackass, and he obviously he's trying to create attention for himself, and he's trying to make some news for himself during a crisis that is totally gripping the nation. That is the most severe crisis we've ever faced in our lifetimes from a health perspective. People are dying. People are getting seriously sick. And this guy is trying to grab attention during this time by going out and doing this, which to me is one of the more, selfish acts that he could possibly do during this time. He should just shut up, hunker down, and just do what most of the rest of these athletes are doing right now, and not try to draw attention to yourself on Instagram. But apparently that's the only way he can try to get himself a job as far as the NFL goes. But if I'm an NFL owner right now, or I'm somebody on an NFL team, I'm saying, you know what, this guy's done, he's finished. Just forget all about him.
Well, not only that, but what does it do to the image of Lamar Jackson, who obviously agreed to work out with Hollywood Brown and
it drives him into that same pool. I mean, as much as the Baltimore Ravens obviously may not like it, that's where Lamar Jackson is. It's sort of like if you were in that boat picture with all those New York Giants when they were on that boat before the playoff game there. You're guilty by association, and definitely at this point, like it or not, he was out there, he was doing it. So I'm sorry, but you're just as bad as those others who are doing this same thing. Hunker down, Don't bring attention to yourself if you're an athlete during this time, because this is the most severe crisis that anybody's ever faced in their lifetime. So just try to not do anything to create bad publicity for yourself, and that's exactly what Lamar Jackson has done by being guilty by association.
I agree with you. Could not agree more. Just being around right now, Antonio Brown damages your reputation. Lamar Jackson has a very good reputation at this point.
Not anymore.
Well, I still think he does, but I'm telling you, this does damage it a little bit because, again, you have Antonio Brown. First, he tries to glom on with Tom Brady, and you have Tom Brady liking.
Right, we know his history. We know that he had, he had the history of Tom Brady, he has the history with the Raiders. We know about that.
No, but I'm saying after he got released, he started liking Tom Brady's Instagram posts.
Well, of course he did.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he?
About Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay or Tom Brady this or and for a while there. For a while there was
because he tried to try and clam on with Tampa Bay and try and get a
Well,
job.
no,
with Tampa
even
Bay.
before this is before the signing. There was talk about wherever Tom Brady went that it was a package. Tom Brady and Antonio Brown.
No, it was never going to happen. No team was going to bring in Antonio. I'll tell you right now, there was no way.
Well, there was talk.
There were rumors. I would say rumors. But you know what? That's somebody on a blog or somebody saying this or somebody saying that. And
you had him liking each other. You had Tom Brady liking his posts. That's what I'm saying. That's how.
No team. Tom Brady can like his posts all he wants. The bottom line is, no team was going to bring in Antonio Brown and take on that baggage that he brought with him. Even if just because Tom Brady says, okay, I wouldn't come here unless you brought in Antonio Brown. Look, did that happen in Tampa? I don't think so.
No, Bruce Arians said.
Of course he did. Of course Bruce Arians did. Because there's no freaking way that any team was going to bring in that disaster or that pathetic excuse for a human that Antonio Brown is.
I agree. I agree with that. I wouldn't bring him in if I was a head coach or anybody like that. I wouldn't touch Antonio Brown for the life of me right now. As good as he is, as phenomenal wide receiver as Antonio Brown is, I wouldn't touch him at all. Too toxic to bring into
talk about Antonio Brown. How about Colin Kaepernick? You talk about a toxic environment, people play, and the entire league blackballed Colin Kaepernick. Hey, that's what I'm trying to say about this jerk. Is the fact that if a team isn't going to bring in Colin Kaepernick, there's no way you can justify bringing in Antonio Brown. That's just my take. That if Antonio Brown finds his way onto a team, Colin Kaepernick better find his way onto a team. That's just my take.
I agree with you,
because Colin Kaepernick did a hell of a lot less than Antonio Brown did, quite honestly.
And the same thing with Aldon Smith. You're giving Aldon Smith a second chance. Why not give Kaepernick? Why not bring in Kaepernick? Give Kaepernick a second chance. The only thing now, here's the thing. You brought up during the course of this conversation, don't draw attention to yourself.
Absolutely.
During this. Well, that's exactly what Cam Newton, the unsigned free agent, is doing on Instagram, on social media. He's posting his workouts, shirtless, I might say. Looking all
much. Is he doing it with anybody else?
What?
Is he posing with anybody? Is there anybody else with him?
No, it's just him working out. But he is going about it the right way. What he's doing on social media is he's posting workout videos, him doing quarterback drills, him in the gym working out, trying to get better. I think that is exactly what GMs and coaches and owners want to see right now out of Cam Newton, is him 100% focused on football, working out, and getting better, because that's one of their chief objections, I think, in not signing Cam Newton, is that they don't know where he's at physically, and would he work as a backup quarterback, and how is he looking? Because their medical staff can't get their hands on him.
Well,
they can't.
I think Cam Newton. Let's remember something about Cam Newton. First of all, he's just a few years removed, okay, from being one of the best quarterbacks in the league. From being an MVP, going to a Super Bowl, and obviously, he didn't play that well in the Super Bowl. But by the same token, there is still that talent that may still be there. Now, the same thing I apply to Aldon Smith is, that I apply to Cam Newton. I mean, is that talent that we saw a few years ago eroded? Is that talent still viable to the point where if you look at it, you bring him in, if it's a 1-year deal or maybe a 2-year deal, then you're not taking a lot of risk on the team's part, and it becomes more of a low risk, high reward kind of an environment, for Cam Newton, depending upon what team he lands on and the kind of motivation that Cam Newton has. So I think that's, what we have to watch here from Cam Newton is how motivated he is to go out there and perform with the team that he's on. If he's on a bad team or a team that's, not very competitive, how motivated is he going to be? If he's on a team that's a potential playoff team or a team that's searching for a Super Bowl, which there aren't many of those teams left that honestly need a quarterback, but if he can land on one of those teams, then he might be even more motivated. Would he accept? This is a situation which that may have to be discussed between him and his agent and a team. Is would he accept a backup role? Would he accept being a backup quarterback on a team? I mean, there's many teams right now that are set either drafting a quarterback right now at the top of the draft, or they've already got their ducks in a row as far as their quarterbacks go at this point. So there aren't a lot of teams right now jostling right now for quarterbacks, as far as I know. Yep. So these are the kind of things that I think have to be discussed as far as a potential landing spot for Cam Newton. The talent obviously can be there, but at the same time, what is that talent? Is that talent that he had still viable now after a couple of years have passed? The point where he can get back that talent and the motivation that he has. Those are the things that I look at from a Cam Newton perspective. And like I said, would he accept being a backup quarterback, or would he? And how motivated is he going to be, depending upon the situation that he lands in?
And the only team I see out there right now at this very moment that can bring him in as a possible starting quarterback is the LA Chargers. That would be the only team right now that I can see as a fit for Cam Newton as a starting quarterback. Otherwise than that, I think every other team is looking towards the draft or already has their starting quarterback in place. That's the only team. And the Chargers may be looking at the draft, may be looking...
do they want to take Cam Newton on?
I think it would be a great fit for both teams because the Chargers are going into LA. They need somebody to market their team around. And Cam wants to be Superman again. Now, whether he can or he can't, that's up to his body. And like you said, I don't know whether that's physically possible for Cam, but the fact that Cam barely played at all last season is allowed his body to heal, is working out. I think, if you can get Cam on a reasonable contract, and the Chargers head coach said they're looking at everybody, as a possible quarterback for their team this year, I think that it would be a good fit for both of them. Sign Cam to a 1 or 2 year deal, draft a quarterback that falls to you, and see what you got. It was only 2 years ago that the Chargers were a double win team. So, if they can get back to that with Cam Newton, and the Chargers still have talent on their team. Let's not forget that. So I don't know how far they would get at the wild card, but
they're in a tough division.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at it, when you look at that division, obviously it begins and ends with a guy by the name of Pat Mahomes in that division. And I think that would, maybe be some motivation, maybe being able to compete against Pat Mahomes twice a year. Of course, in Carolina, he had the opportunity of competing against Drew Brees twice a year, so who knows? But at the same time, I agree with you to the point that San Diego on the surface would look to be a great fit for Cam Newton, but again, you're trying to reignite that fire and trying to do that, and whether that fire is still there, that's the question that we all have to answer to, and that's what I think these teams are trying to judge. And based upon the videos, like you stated at the very onset with your question, with the videos and posting these videos, shirtless and so forth, it seems like he is becoming more and more motivated, knowing the fact now that all these other quarterbacks have found homes in the free agent class, and he's really the only one left right now, not to really find a home at this point. So
him and Jameis Winston.
And Jameis Winston has his own issues. We can dive into famous Jameis, but Jameis Winston doesn't have the how can I say, it's the resume that Cam Newton had in the past. Jameis Winston is still trying to build a career, whereas no fault of his own, having played in Tampa Bay for Jameis Winston, but. By the same token, Cam Newton obviously has already built his career, already gone to a Super Bowl in the past, whereas Jameis Winston is kind of trying to find himself. We're going to take a little break here on the Skillet Radio Show. We'll come back and we'll chat about some more NFL topics. We'll chat about, obviously, the NCAA had a ruling come down this week regarding extending the eligibility for the spring athletes who did not get a chance to compete due to the coronavirus for 2020 into 2021, but not the winter sports. So they decided not to extend the eligibility. So players who played, their seasons for basketball and so forth, college basketball and so forth, they do not get that extended eligibility, so they cannot come back. So they don't get to compete in an NCAA tournament because there's no NCAA tournament. But we'll chat about that on the other side. We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to the Sports Skillet Radio Show, cooking up all the hot takes. Jump in and join us at 609-919-9200. Download our app at sportsskilletradio.com. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube by searching for Sports Skillet. And remember to show us some love. Like, follow, and share.
Remember the TV show Cheers, where everybody knows your name? Never been there. But every time I walk into Wildflowers restaurant on Pennington Circle, I feel at home and that I belong. Friday night, I headed over to Wildflowers, and even though it was packed, I easily found a seat at the bar and got cozy with 17 TVs. Baseball, golf, entertainment TV, you name it, including all NFL games. The bartender Dave suggested I order the Buffalo Wing Sampler, and you could tell he was a fervent fan. But reviews on Wildflowers Inn Restaurant Facebook page demanded I tried the garbage truck pizza, and Kelly had just arrived and promised to help me dig in. Then it came. Garbage truck pizza does not live up to its name because it smells amazing and it tastes even better. Freshly sliced peppers and pepperoni, garlic, mushrooms, mozzarella, and meatballs all baked on this incredibly crunchy and warm double crust to hold it all together perfectly. Heaven, especially with one of their 23 beers on tap. I'm a believer. Go to wildflowersinrestaurant.com for more info or just come in. They are conveniently located on the Pennington Circle, right near I-95. I promise you, they will welcome you warmly, feed you well, and perhaps soon even know your name.
You're listening to the Sports Skillet Radio Show, cooking up all the hot takes. Jump in and join us at 609-919-9200. Download our app at sportskilletradio.com. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube by searching for Sports Skillet. And remember to show us some love. Make sure you like, follow, and share.
And we're back here on the Sports Skillet live stream. Hope you guys are enjoying it.
Radio show.
Sports Skillet Radio Show. That's right.
We are taping this on Thursday. This is not a live stream, folks.
We are live streaming it.
Yeah, we are live streaming it, but this is Thursday. This is not. This is a tape show for Sunday here on Fox Sports 920 The Jersey and SportsSkilletRadio.com. We thank you for joining us this Sunday morning. We hope everybody is still hunkering down in terms of the coronavirus and staying home and staying healthy. It's just been a very tough, difficult time for everybody. I wish everybody the best as far as good health goes. As far as this upcoming week goes, it's going to be a tough week for a lot of people, but hopefully we'll find our way through it.
Absolutely. I'd like to try and see if our phone lines are working, Jeff. All right. We have an awesome contributor to the Sports Skillet Radio Show. Name is Mike Nebbia. Let's see if we can give Mike a call here and see if the phone lines are working. Hey, Mike, are you there?
I am here.
All right, we got Mike on the show. Welcome back, Mike.
It's been a while since I've been on 920. Oh, excuse me, let me close the door to my room.
No, Mike, we need you to talk. Mike. Oh, my God. Okay, Mike.
It has been a while since I've been on 920.
It is.
9 months?
It is. So, Mike, we were talking
Please
about...
do not make me relive that incident. I hate reliving that incident so much.
Yep, not even going to talk about it. All right. So, we were talking about a bunch of topics. Jeff, which one would you like to talk about? We were talking about Antonio Brown working out with quarterback Lamar Jackson. What did you think of that, Mike?
Well, when we're all trying to social distance ourselves, Antonio Brown working out with Lamar Jackson in the same place? Let me get this out right now. Antonio Brown is just a big, fat dummy.
He is.
You're living in a new normal, so to speak. And with this coronavirus going around, Antonio Brown, I have no words for this. What is going on in that mind of his? Let me answer that for you. He's got no mind. He's got no mind of his own.
Exactly. And what we were saying there, Mike, is that he's just like Lamar Jackson, just for bringing him in and working out with him and posting that picture on social media of the three of them hugging during this crisis is absolutely ludicrous. You know, it makes Lamar Jackson look like a jackass, is what it makes him look like. You know, what do you think?
I agree completely. It makes Lamar Jackson look dumb. It makes him look like a total dunce bucket.
I agree. So, we know you're a big Mets fan. We were talking about this last week. One of the Mets' highly top starters on the Mets, Thor, went in and got Tommy John surgery. He's going to be shut down. Noah Syndergaard. Thor. That's what I said.
Yeah. And I call him Thor because his hair looks like Thor from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yes.
Which
And
seen much of.
So he went in, got Tommy John surgery, and this is something I wanted to bring up with Jeff too, is the fact that They since shut down all surgeries. No more Tommy John surgery. Noah Syndergaard got his, so he's currently rehabbing in Florida or what have you. Phillies have a relief pitcher on their staff, Sir Anthony Dominguez, who many people feel needs to get Tommy John surgery, but keeps delaying it. Now, all that procedure is shut down until further notice. That's going to impact the Phillies. Should have had it done way earlier, probably even last season. So what do you think of those two things, Mike? The fact that Syndergaard got his, but unfortunately Dominguez isn't going to be able to get his until further notice.
Well, Thor got his done just in time because Florida just issued a stay-at-home order for the entire state, and that includes no non-essential surgeries. So Thor got his in under the wire. As for Dominguez, again, he pulled an Antonio Brown. What was he thinking not getting his Tommy John surgery done? Like you said,
no, Mike, let's not put him in anywhere near Antonio Brown. Those cases are absolutely, totally different. Antonio Brown is a brain jackass, so you can't compare the two of them. The only thing Sir Anthony did was delay a surgery, so I don't even put those guys in the same boat, in the same state or the same continent. Those two guys couldn't be any more different, Mike. Come on.
Dominguez, I think he may have been corrupted by Gabe Kapler's way of thinking.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
what you said last season when the Phillies were tanking, I think Dominguez went up the Juarez Canal, as you would say.
Yes.
When he was trying to schedule his Tommy John surgery, he just kept putting it off, shirking it off like, it's no big deal, we're tanking. And all of a sudden, boom, Florida, stay-at-home order, now he can't get it done.
What do you think, Jeff?
I think that it's a good idea to delay the surgeries. I think, look, it's like buying toilet paper. I sure as hell would like to go back in time and say, you know what, I sure as hell would like to have bought 5 or 6 rolls of toilet paper 3 or 4 weeks ago and stocked up on it, but I didn't do it. Does that mean that, hey, am I penalized? Absolutely I'm penalized because there's no toilet paper available right now to buy. But you can't penalize Noah Syndergaard, Jay, for getting the surgery when it was available for him to get. It was available, he took advantage of it, and he got it. Sir Anthony Dominguez did not. That's his problem. That's the way it goes. That's his fault. That's just the way that's the way the ball bounces. You either get it when it's available, or you're SOL as far as getting it now. I mean, you can't go back. You can't go back in time and say, okay, because for me personally, I would sure as hell like to go back in time 5 or 6 weeks ago and buy 10 or 11 rolls of toilet paper and have that in my garage right now during this crisis that doesn't seem to be ever ending. Unfortunately, I can't. Well, Sir Anthony Dominguez is in the same boat when it comes to Tommy John surgery. He can't get it. It's unavailable. He's locked out. Too bad. Sorry. Get it when the crisis is over.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
What I'm saying is,
but don't fault Thor and Sinner. Don't fault Thor for getting it when he did.
I don't fault Thor for getting it when he did. It was available. He took advantage of it, and the surgery was successful. Dominguez didn't take advantage of it. He gets penalized. And as for the toilet paper situation, don't penalize us. Penalize the hoarders for hoarding.
Yeah, penalize the hoarders for people hoarding the toilet paper. Do that too, Jeff.
Thank you very much.
Look, I penalize them, but Mike, you got to realize that you had more than there was more of a supply of toilet paper 5 weeks ago. Everybody had an opportunity to get it. So, in my opinion, I'm in the boat with everybody else when it comes to these kinds of necessities of life. It's a fact that back in mid-February it was there for the taking. Plenty of it available. Now it's not. Well, you can't fault people now for saying now that it's not. People are going to hoard it up the wazoo. That's what's going to happen when you have a supply and demand issue. And it's going to get worse, folks. It's not going to get better. It's going to go into a lot of other things because we have transportation issues now. We have issues now getting supplies into the supermarkets, into the stores. So if you think it's going to end with toilet paper, that's not gonna. That's just the tip of the iceberg right now. The longer this goes, the more we're going to have trouble getting food, and it's going to get really, really bad.
Yeah, I'm not expecting all this to slow down until after Easter.
I would say well after Easter for this thing to slow down.
Well, I mean, you're talking at least, as far as the curve, it depends. I mean, how quickly does the curve start to bend? How quickly do we start to see results from people actually isolating themselves and so on because it's virus? That's all key when you look at trying to flatten the curve and you're trying to flatten people actually catching the virus. The thing about the virus, though, is there's a 15-day delay from people actually catching the virus and people showing symptoms. So you don't have to be. So you could catch the virus, not be symptomatic for 15 days, and then start to show symptoms from the virus. So there's a lot of dynamics that go into this as far as when, and again, like I said, social gatherings, actually getting back to doing social gatherings and doing all that it may come in phases. That may be what actually ends up starting to happen here as far as getting back to life as normal. And what is going to be life as normal when we actually get back? That's an interesting question to have for another show.
Yeah.
Is what is life as normal?
Exactly.
When this thing actually starts to abate and pass.
Exactly. What do you think, Mike?
Well, it's going to be a while before we see a sense of normalcy, but what is life as normal? What will be life as normal after this would be a slow rollout of sports as we know it, with fans in the stands. I think we'll see NHL and NBA get back to some sense of normalcy.
I hope so.
After the end of April, we'll probably push the season out to mid-June, playoffs starting a week after the season ends.
Hopefully.
And I saw a revised NASCAR schedule making the rounds, starting with the Coke 600 in Charlotte, with multiple midweek races, some double headers. So that's been making the rounds.
Cool. And when was that supposed to start?
I took a look at it before you called me, and it's supposed to start May 24th with the Coca-Cola 600.
Okay, so around the end of May. Hopefully we can cross our fingers, and hope that happens. Yep.
Yeah, they were hoping to get back racing Mother's Day weekend with that first Martinsville race under the lights, which I am so looking forward to. But with Virginia's stay-at-home order, that's not going to be the case. Now they're looking at Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, hopefully that's when we can. I mean, I've heard could be June or July, maybe even. Who knows at this point.
Yeah, but right now I'm looking at Memorial Day weekend for when things.
And I wanted to, before you let you go, I just wanted to get your opinion and Jeff's opinion. What do you think of the NFL adding the 2 new playoff teams and expanding to 17 games? I'll let Jeff go first.
Ridiculous. I don't like it. I think it's horrible. It's a money grab. I said this on Sports Skillet a few weeks ago. I think it's a money grab for owners. It's going to hurt the players when you look at potential injuries. I like it the way it is right now. I don't. I've always gone by expression: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't think it's a broken system right now as far as that goes. But the owners want more money, so. Let's add some more playoff teams. Let's add some, games. Let's add a couple.
Players agree to it.
Well, it's true they did. So they have to live. They have to live with this. But I just don't look at it. I look at it as I judge this by the fact that I like the way the NFL is right now. I like the system and what we have right now. I don't see a reason to change the system right now. It's not something that I think needs to be changed as far as adding another player. Well, I don't need to add another game onto the regular season. I don't need to do this. I like the season the way it is. I like the postseason. I think it works. So it's more money for the owners in a billion-dollar industry. So.
And Mike, what do you think?
Okay. First off, Jeff, you do have a good point. The fans do like the system the way it is, but I'm also a proponent of seeing is believing. I'd like to see this in action first before I pass judgment on whether I like the current system or the new system that's coming up with the more playoff teams and the additional games. I was skeptical of the way Major League Baseball is doing it now when they announced it, but after I saw like the game 163, the additional wild card game, that provided a little more drama to the end of the season, to the postseason. I'd like to see how NFL handles this before I pass any judgment along on this system.
Gotcha. I'm going to disagree with Jeff. I'm going to say that I like it. I think that more NFL is always a good thing.
I know why you like it, Jay, because it gives the Eagles more of a chance to make the playoffs.
Why? Well, I think they're going to make the playoffs regardless. And if you listen to...
Well, yeah, because that division is a load of crap, but otherwise...
The NFC East, if you do your homework, it is down, down, down.
I can't wait to Jay, for the Eagles to get in and then get their brains beat in by the 49ers or the Saints.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Well, the 49ers have lost some players. Let's not forget that. And they have...
Who has the title, Jay? Who has the belt right now as far as being NFC champions?
That would be the 49ers.
Yeah, so beat it first.
This sibling rivalry.
We will debate that next week. Or we can debate it tomorrow on the live stream if you want to. Yeah, I like it because the more NFL, the better. And if you watch the NFL, towards the end of the year, you get these teams that have clinched first place or clinched second place. And
clinched their division, clinched the playoff.
Well, clinched the first or second seed the past few years. And then the question always comes about, will
they bench players? Will they bench their starters?
You got it, Mike.
It's the case with the NBA. It's the NHL.
Yeah, hold on. And it's all about who's going to play in those final game or two once they've clinched it. Now, with only one team getting a bye, now you're going to get players to actually play the full 17 games because only one team is getting a bye, and if they haven't clinched it, well, then you have to play your starters all 17 games. You're not going to see the backups in there the last 2 or 3 games. It's not going to happen. So you're going to have all these teams playing their starters. You're not going to get,
unless that team is actually clinched, Jay.
Unless that team is like the Chiefs or the Patriots. Although I don't have much hope for the Patriots now that they've lost Brady.
If the team is that far
better. If the team is clinched, but I don't see that in today's NFL. I just don't see it. I don't see a team clinching with at game 16. I still think you're going to have to play your starters in game 17 to clinch that first round bye. And that's going to create more competition between the teams because they're going to want that bye week, and now there's only one.
But on the back end of it, you're adding another playoff team, so you're adding a garbage team into the playoffs, and maybe.
Oh, and I'm glad you brought that up because there's only been 1% of the teams that have made the playoffs with a losing record since in the Super Bowl era.
You know why? Because there's only been, they've limited the playoffs. They haven't gone down to the level that they're going to now as far as how many playoff teams they have.
And
you're adding those, so you're judging it based upon what they've allowed in, not what they're currently. I want to see, tell me in 10 years, based upon this model, how many teams have gotten in with a losing record. Come back to me in 10 years with that same number, and then I'll give you credit for it. But don't come back to me, Jay, with that statistic as far as the past goes, because that was the past playoff system, not the current playoff system that they are now instituting.
We're still in that Super Bowl era, though.
That is true.
Still counts as the Super Bowl era.
It does, absolutely. And like I said, I think this creates more competition for the bye, and more competition to get into the playoffs, which means you're going to have less teams tanking.
You're always going to have teams tanking because you're always going to have bad teams in the league. That's not going to change.
Cleveland Browns.
True, you're always going to have bad teams, but but if a team has a chance to get into the playoffs, they're going to go for it. They're going to get into the playoffs. They're going to want to make it.
They're going to want to have that shot to get into the playoffs, get that national exposure just for being in the playoffs.
Exactly.
Because there are those teams that don't get many national TV games. Being in the playoffs guarantees you at least one national TV game, whether it be a CBS, whether it be an NBC, ABC, ESPN.
Exactly.
That's exposure. That means more fans will want to see how you do and possibly go to your side come the following season.
And this past year, if it was the current NFL schedule, it would have been the Rams that would have been that last team in.
And the Rams weren't that good of a team.
I think they were.
So you've made my point.
The Rams were 9-7.
Yeah, but they weren't a very good team.
So, but yeah,
they were 9-7. They were 9-7. They were not a very good team.
Weren't that good?
Not a very good team would have been. Not a very good team would have been 5-10, Jeff. That would have been the Arizona.
They were one game away from being an 8-8 team. Let's not, they were one game away from being an average team. They were one game away from that. I mean, they were also one game away from being a game better than that and being 11. But at the same time, I just
had
the
same division record as the Seahawks, 3-3. Had the same division record.
Seahawks had them on Seahawks would have had them on head-to-head.
7-5 in the conference last year were the Los Angeles Rams, Jeff.
Yeah, they were an average team.
7-5 is average?
7-5 is about an average team. I mean, that's 7-5 is average.
Just couldn't get it done outside of their own conference.
All right, I'm glad. I think 7-5 is pretty good.
7-5.
It's okay. It's better than being 500, but it's a game better. It's a game better than 500. I mean, what do you? I mean, it's 2 games better than 5. I mean, I'm looking at this. I'm trying to say. Well, I look at the Rams. I saw the Rams play. I saw the Rams play, and the Rams to me did not pass the eye test of being a playoff.
Last month of the season, they were 3-2. You know what the 49ers record was the last month of the season? 3-2.
Yeah, but there's a difference. Look at the 49ers. Who were the 49ers playing in those last 5 games?
They were playing under 500
Who were they
teams.
playing? What was their competition? Who were the Rams playing and who were the 49ers playing?
I'm just saying, the Rams weren't that bad a team.
Well, it depends. Well, who were they playing in those last... You're bringing up the fact that the Rams were such and such in their last 5 games. The 49ers were such and such in the last 5 games.
No, what you're bringing up, what you're trying to say is that a 7-9 team or an 8-8 team, because of this new concept, is going to make the playoffs. And I'm saying...
It's a possibility that they could. That's all I'm bringing up, that it is a possibility that kind of team could sneak in with that final playoff spot.
Yeah.
It's not like it can't happen, Jay. It can.
Well, anything can.
And a lot of and I gotta say, some of those teams that got into the playoffs last year, your Eagles, for example, did not. And I will say this, and I give you a little bit of a
Niners had the Ravens,
lose their starting quarterback during the game, so I can't say that they would have played. They would have played better during that playoff game. But there were other teams also during that wild card round that did not play very well during that wild card round that got their brains bashed in.
Yeah, Tom Brady and the Patriots.
That was one of them. Yes, and did the Patriots deserve to be in the playoffs? I don't think so. But they got in anyway. And did they deserve to be there? I think Tom Brady would look at it and say, absolutely not.
They won their division.
Pretty handily.
Okay, so a 12-4 team does not deserve to make the playoffs. Let's see what the 49ers...
They were 12-4. What was the Patriots' record in their division?
13-3. They were a game less than the 49ers. So I guess the 49ers shouldn't have been in the playoffs.
Okay.
Of course the 49ers should have been in the playoffs.
Well,
but look at the difference between the Patriots and the 49ers. Look at the difference in how they played. The 49ers proved in the playoffs that they deserved. They went to the Super Bowl. You look at the Patriots, they got beat in the first round. They had to play in the wild card round in the playoffs. There were better teams that were out there, and the Patriots proved in the playoffs in that first round. The litmus test was that they were not a team that deserved to be there.
That happens.
Yes, and you're going to see it more with this additional playoff team.
I don't think so.
Okay, we'll find out. Come back in 10 years and tell me that statistic of how many teams with a losing record actually got into the playoffs. Yep. Come back in 10 years and show me that.
All right. Mike, I'm sorry, but we got to let you go because we got to wrap up the show. But enjoyed having you on. Will you be available for the live stream?
I will.
All right. So we will talk to you Friday on the live stream.
We'll talk to you Friday.
All right. All right. So, Jeff, as we wrap up the show, anything else you want to get to real quick?
Well, I wanted to get to during this show more of a discussion of the NCAA. I guess we'll have to table that as far as extending the eligibility because I think that's a big story as far as that goes. But obviously we didn't get a chance to get to that. Wimbledon was canceled for the first time since World War II. That's a huge story in and of itself when you look at the fact that this coronavirus has wreaked havoc on the sports calendar, including canceling one of the biggest tennis events, their Super Bowl as far as Wimbledon goes, and that has been canceled for this year. So it tells you how serious this virus really is, that it's canceling a lot of these big sporting events. Yeah. The Major League Baseball game schedule, Major League Baseball is trying to really give fans some baseball as far as what they're promoting on their social media sites and what they've opened up as far as their vaults go. So you can always go to the social media sites for Major League Baseball to get some of your baseball fix. So Major League Baseball is trying to do the best they can. I know it's not live baseball, but it's still baseball. It still tries to get us through this coronavirus.
Exactly. And like you said, canceling Wimbledon is a huge deal. I mean, you look at all the events that have been postponed or canceled. We don't know when the NBA is coming back, when the hockey is coming back, if we're even going to have a baseball season this year.
I'm telling right now, I was kind of on the fence last week. I'm kind of doubting right now we're going to have sports in 2020.
Okay.
I think that's going to be very tough. And if we do, you're not going to have fans in the stands. The reason is I think it's going to be very tough or very difficult for the social distancing to have fans so close together and so compact in these stadiums to put 70,000, 40, 50, whatever, many thousand fans into a packed stadium and justify that until this thing is really totally passed. And that'll be the last element to come back as we reopen and as we get things. First, you'll see the restaurants. Then you'll start to see other elements start to come back into society. I think the last thing that's going to come back is fans in the stands. So if sports do come back, it's going to be without fans, sort of like WrestleMania, which we also didn't get to talk about.
We'll get to that on the live stream.
We'll get to that, but that's a whole different story as far as trying to promote that all, which I think is totally ridiculous by the WWE to try and put this event on, but that's just my opinion. Because I think it's going to blow up on them because I just don't see how this thing works because you don't have the fan reaction to make it go. I think the engine that makes this thing go, that makes the WWE go and is a live action, is a reaction from the fans, and the WWE doesn't have that at this time.
Yeah. All right. Well, we want to thank you for joining us here on Sunday morning, live on Fox Sports Radio 920 The Jersey. We want to tell you to continue to interact with us on our social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Tune in to the Friday live stream, and we will see you right back here again next Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Have a great week, everybody. Stay healthy, stay safe.
Are you done? Oh, yeah.
Could you hear what he was saying on the phone?
No.
I didn't think so.